Welcome to the 53rd episode of ML Backstage. My name is Mars Luna.
And I'm Ethan.
And we're introducing this podcast straight from the sixth dimension. This is a music commentary podcast hosted by Joshua Luna, and Holokahiki Toves is back. I heard through the grapevine that Kainalu Kamai is with his girl right now, so that's why he's not on this episode. Anyway, Final Voyage is finally out, and now I don't know how the boys are gonna react.
I don't know how I'm gonna react, honestly.
Me neither. Earthlings, grab your popcorn and let's get started. Back to planet Earth we go!
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode 53 of the ML Backstage podcast. My name is Joshua Luna, and to my left, if you're watching on YouTube, I have Holokahiki Toves back, fresh off a Costco run. You know what I'm saying? Kainalu Kamai, who is our other co-host, I don't know where he is. He's probably in the ocean or something, or hanging out with his girl. But that's something that we can get to another time whenever he helps back on here again. For those who are new here, the ML Backstage podcast is basically a behind the scenes look, kind of breaking the fourth wall in a way in regards to my creative project called Mars Luna. Just released the last Mars Luna album. That's still crazy to say. Final Voyage, literally last week, and basically it's gonna be a look at all the albums, EPs, singles, and features that Mars Luna has been a part of, or I've been a part of as Mars Luna, and just kind of like breaking it down and saying like, oh, this is what happened when I was working on this, or this is what happened when this EP happened, those kind of things. So we're thankful that you're here. We're glad that you're listening. But yeah, let's get this thing going. Holo, how you been, bro?
I've been good. Everything is steady. Everything is it's hot and it's raining, so you get a mixture of the cold and heat. But other than that, everything's been good. I've been checking back into the mental lab, trying to get all in line with myself. I was talking to Luna about this right before we started recording, like all these nuances and these, I would say, lightly distractions or even lessons that are teaching me of the man that I'm becoming, or what God has for me in store for my life, and trying to build me up to become that man. So I'm hoping that is what he is doing for me. But other than that, everything's steady, everything's good. My health is good, family's doing good, and everything's good, everything's steady. My health is good, mentally I'm good, spirit wise, learning, building, learning more about myself. And other than that, though, everything is good. Yeah, we here.
Physical lab too. You know what I'm saying?
You know what I'm saying?
You already know. The last time this man was on the podcast, he was shirtless. So he has a shirt.
Was I shirtless?
Yes, you were.
Was I? Oh shit.
It was the roller coaster episode, my boy.
Oh, we gotta talk about that roller coaster though.
Well, we're gonna talk about that a little bit more anyway. So it's a good segue. but yeah, glad everything's going good with the boy. I would say everything's cool with me. Ever since Final Voyage dropped, kind of entered this transitionary period, this liminal space, as you call it, and just kind of hoping to get on the other side as cleanly as possible. This the Final Voyage pun, but but I'm glad that everything's busy. You know what I mean, and can't really complain. Trying to navigate through some certain life decisions that I'm working towards next year. So I've already told Holo earlier, but off mic, but but I will announce when I'm talking about it a later time. But anyway, yeah. This Final Voice just dropped, man, and you and Kainalu Holo have been there through literally, literally day one of this whole process. How how does it feel now, knowing that a certain Odyssey is over with?
Yeah, it's so crazy because I remember, I think when we was in your garage and you had the yellow and blue backdrops. I remember you saying, you told me about the different comics
Yes,
that would signify the different albums or EPs it
yes.
was, or the
It was
different
it was
seasons.
albums. Yep.
Yeah. And I
Mhm.
clearly remember you saying, this one right here is the last one. And
Yep.
I counted, I think it was either 4 or 5 of the comics.
It's four.
It was 4.
It was four
So
because
it's
this is the fourth one.
crazy. The 4th one. Okay. So it's crazy to be sitting here now knowing that you are finished already with it.
That's it's it hasn't fully processed in yet.
Mm.
I think once I cut my hair, it'll and I start growing it out again, that's when it'll start like because the physical representation of it will be finished, which is
Mm.
which is dang, like it's still fresh, but that's insane work, you know, because we had like for those who don't know, like I've planned that Holo is talking about an event from 2019. And that was when Roller Coaster was written around that same time. So I've had a lot of these songs for years and years and years. And and now it's all coming out and there's nothing really left in the hard drive anymore uh in regards to Mars Luna. So it's a crazy ride, but I know that you um listened to the Final Voyage album, and when we when we were doing the photo shoots for it, when you came to Vegas and you did all the
Oh yeah,
um
yeah.
I kind of want to go through that a little bit before we go through the songs.
Mm-mm.
Um I remember saying to you that we were working on the next thing.
Right, right. I
It
remember you saying that.
and this is back in November 2023 before New Orbit even dropped. So I was clearly anticipating the end of this Odyssey for a while,
Mm.
for at least a few years. And I mentioned it a little bit more on the last episode 52. You can go check that out. But I feel like now that's a little bit of a harbinger because some weird circumstantial things happened during that, right? Like I had we were doing roller coaster we were excuse me, let me reframe myself. We were we were at New York, taking pictures in front of the New York and the roller coaster and all that stuff. And when we were taking photos for With You the next day, I lost my voice. And
Mm.
that was a wicked time. And Galileo, same thing. I lost my voice at that time, and it kind of severely impacted the New Orbit rollout for me. Uh, but how how do you think of that whole Vegas trip now, looking back at it, because it's been a couple years now since that happened?
I gotta say well, there's a lot of things that happened that during that trip.
Hmm.
Some stuff like, just, chilling, cruising, but also the way it's unfolded.
Yeah.
Like we it was 2 years ago, and I remember
Hmm.
we had it all planned out.
Yep.
But then when we actually head into that space, it's like you wasn't expecting it to be this way.
Hmm.
So we're already there. And in my head, as a in a creative aspect, I remember, okay, we can't like turn around and go somewhere else. Like we gotta work with what we got.
Yep.
And plus, too, we have the roller coaster, but it in my head, I was trying to envision where the roller coaster can be prominent, but it was
Yeah.
just so high up
Yep.
above the roof of the entrance. I was like, I don't know if this is gonna work out.
Right.
Then Luna, he was standing behind a pillar, and there was a reflection,
Mm-hmm.
a mirror reflecting off of the lights was reflecting off the mirror underneath of the roof. And I had him stand there, and I was like, oh boy, oh
Yeah.
boy, oh boy. Like
There was a lot of neon lights underneath the valet or that was where the taxi Uber drive through for New York, New York.
right, right.
And
And
that was when, and I think that's when I told you at that time, like we don't need the roller coaster itself now. We got this. But then like you also captured the roller coaster coming down the thing in your vlog. The more
right, we
things.
still got it in the vlog, yeah.
Yep.
But it was actually crazy how everything just falls into place like that.
Hmm.
And luckily enough, everybody around us was very considerate
Yes.
and not being like, okay, you guys can't be here, you guys need to go somewhere else. We was just doing what we have to do, and then people was just working around us. So I thank you for them.
Right.
With the we went to the what is the second shoot was Fremont, right?
Yep.
Fremont.
It was
Fremont, yeah.
well, we tried to do some other stuff on the strip too.
Yeah.
And
Oh, that's right, yeah.
which I did mention on the Galileo episode. Um we encountered some showgirls
Oh, that's right. Yeah, yeah.
because we were trying to find some other stuff on the strip, and then like I was telling Kainalu that you because I thought we were gonna take photos of the showgirls or whatever, and you know we you know me living there for 9 years at that point, it was I was like, okay, I don't know when I'll have the chance to do this, so let's take these photos, move on, whatever. And I thought you were gonna have some photos taken too, but you're like, nah, just you, bro, just you, bro. I got this, I got this. You let me out to dry, bro, but it's all good. But that was a fun, like, memorable aspect of
Mm.
Galileo, and then after that we went to Fremont the next day when I lost my
Mm.
voice because I was going to ham at church, and then I was like, well, all right, this sucks. But we still made the most of it. I wanted to make the most out of that day because I was like, all right, were you going back home after that, or was
Oh,
that
yeah, I was going back home after that.
that's right.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
wanted to
yeah.
make sure that you had your we were able to make the most out of your days back home
Mm.
for sure. So I was like, nope, I'll deal with whatever I need to deal with the next day. And yeah, the next day was Fremont for yeah, with you and Galileo for the
Mm.
remainder of the Galileo. So I wanted to get my whole theme for Final Voyage was vintage Vegas, which is why I wanted to get all the neon lights and all that kind of
Nice.
stuff.
Yeah, yeah. That's cool.
Yes, it was kind of like a homage to this city in a way, because Mars Luna has been, like I was talking to my mom about this. Like I started off with Acoustic Sunrise, which was like which is high school, right? And then there was like an in-between moment where there wasn't really anything, and then when I moved out here, like I started doing music out here, but it was under the name of Mars Luna and the character of Mars Luna, and then like it's kind of like a homage to this city who's kind of that's kind of done a lot for me in a lot of ways, and
Mm.
and also a nod to the fact that Vegas always it changes all the time. That's the nature of the city. It's transient, it changes all the time. Like I don't like I remember how it was back in 2014 when I moved here, and it's so different now, and just seeing the changes and the growth and all that stuff, and it's kind of mirroring my thing. So that's why I wanted to do the vintage Vegas, because if people
Mm,
want to remember Vegas, you know what I mean, it was that. And I feel like the art direction for this album was my favorite. Um, Even though like basically the album was a bunch of demos. Um, uh, but yeah, that was kind of that was the gist of that. Uh, I know last episode I covered all the songs that already dropped, which was With You, Galileo, Roller Coaster, Treasure Island, which was a rerun from the Sirius EP, and In an Instant, all the way back to the Prelude EPs and See the Stars from from the Artress record. So there's a lot of throwbacks with Final Voyage.
mm.
Um, but are there any what notes do you have from those one, two, three, four, five, like six songs that I just mentioned before I go through all the other unreleased all the other
Ooh,
songs that I didn't announce yet.
what was the question again?
S- or like what are your thoughts on With You, Galileo, Roller Coaster, Treasure Island, In an Instant, and See the Stars?
Mm.
Because those were the songs that were already out there before the album dropped.
Well, you already know I'm gravitating towards roller coaster.
Oh, for sure, automatic.
Yeah, or just so this roller coaster with you is another good one.
Yep,
See the stars. It's another good one.
yep.
Um, but they do have their own similarities when it
Mm-hmm.
comes to very much like the artistic
Expression.
expression, your interpretation,
Mm-hmm.
and the style of it. But then they have their own individual story.
Right.
And it's funny when I say individual story, the first track that comes up is Roller Coaster.
Yep.
Yeah,
Because that one affected you the most.
that one affected me the most. And to hear it, I think I text you guys on the group chat,
Yep.
and I said I was running errands, and I remember listening. I think it was the day before you dropped it. I was like, oh, let me go through the album one time.
No,
Just listening to it one time.
yeah.
And when Roller Coaster came up, it was so like unreal that I'm
Yeah.
hearing this story and I'm like driving. I'm not even in my Nissan Sentra anymore. I'm driving in
Oh,
a
that's
Toyota
right.
Tacoma
Oh man, that's right.
in like Georgia. And just to hear this, I'm like, man, it's crazy. I'm just happy that I'm able to be that inspiration for that song.
Oh, for sure. And
And listening,
you were a good sport about it too.
yeah,
I mean,
I remember listening to that song after, and then I heard the voiceover. I was like, man, Holo, get your act together, man.
it's 20 summer 2019 was wicked, bro.
It was wild, bro. I cannot. That can be a whole freaking
Yeah,
album in itself.
yeah, bro. Yeah, bro. No,
Holy
that's
shit.
crazy. And Kainalu said that no, that was when the album dropped.
Mm.
You guys texted me at the same time when the album dropped.
Okay,
And
okay, okay.
yeah, you were saying, yeah, like the voiceover, that was something I didn't add on the single. I wanted to wait till the album dropped to add that little nugget in. You know what I'm saying?
That's a
Um,
good one.
and then Nalu said adding in the podcast convo. I think he meant the Zoom that we did for See the Stars.
Mm.
That makes this a listening experience, which is funny because kind of leading into the album itself, like these songs have gone through two through messed up hard drives.
Wow.
And I mentioned on the last episode that I thought about sending these songs over to Morgan to tweak on them a little bit. But at that time, we both knew that this is over. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like this 9 years of Mars Luna has been really cool. It's been a lot of fun. It's been escapism, but it's but we're both in different seasons of life now. You know what I mean? And Morgan and I actually talked about this. I'm gonna talk more about his thoughts on the record too. Once we get past this introduce the next couple songs. But yeah, it's this record was sentimental on purpose. It's very much like you mentioned, there are a bunch of individual stories, but they encompass like a general theme of like nostalgia and sentimentality, and that was kind of like what the mood and the vibe of what I wanted to capture with Final Voyage. And I feel like even though like basically even though these songs are these songs could have been tweaked on a little bit more, everything happened the way that it was supposed to in the end. And I'm just grateful to everyone who's been a part of the ride, who's been a part of part of the journey. Everyone from the Mars Luna day ones to the year nines. There were a lot of new year nines, which is hilarious. And everybody in between, like, the Odyssey was what made this worth it. You know what I'm saying? And the stars aligned the way that they needed to. All right, before I introduce the next set of Final Voyage songs, for those who have listened to like the past couple months, you already know I had to have an unofficial sponsor plug. So, Celsius came out with a new flavor called the Retro Vibe. I feel like it fits along with the Final Voyage theme really well because it's so nostalgic and sentimental. This flavor actually tastes like shave ice actually. So it's one of my favorite flavors. And to those who watch, and just because I have one of these every month, it doesn't mean I drink these very often. I usually drink these whenever I have a performance, a Mars Luna performance, or when I have to do a pull-on all-nighter and edit this podcast. Kainalu drinks a lot more soju than I drink Celsius, but it's essential energy. It accelerates metabolism, burns some body fat, and actually, before I drank this, I was kind of sluggish. I'm not gonna lie, and this Celsius has perked me up. So, you can get this at your regular grocery store, convenience store. The Retro Vibe is the flavor of the month. Was one of my favorite flavors. And now we're about to get to the remainder of these song breakdowns. I can't snap right now. Whatever. So let's go through the first unreleased song of the bunch, which is Together Forever. Together Forever is basically the events of Together Forever basically happened right after Roller Coaster, and this was also inspired by you, Holo, again. Remember, we've talked about this during the Roller Coaster episode, where you were kind of reeling from the events that happened from Roller Coaster, and the events of when you were trying to be vegan.
Oh, that part.
That part.
Oh no.
That's what. But I'll say this. I'll expand on this a little bit more because I do have a piano version that'll probably drop as like an extension of Final Voyage, if you will, next month. But I'll say this, that I am the villain in this song. I am the villain in the song. There's a line here that says. Basically you're determined to make something happen, right? But other people may be against it or whatever. And I was basically the one who was quote unquote against it, but really I was just looking out. I was just looking out for my friends.
Right.
That's really all that was. And I was like, and me being the pragmatic realist, I was like, man, this is not gonna work, bro. I don't want the homies to be let down again. And that was kind of what happened. Used To is a song about my dad. This was a song that I was actually very insecure about. And it was basically a song about how I've written songs about my dad before. If you look at Dwelling in the Cellar from Lost in Space, that song was explicitly about him, from his perspective. But this was Used To is basically my relationship with my dad. And every boy, when they're young, they want to look up to their dad, right? Because their dad is the closest male figure in their lives, and every boy wants to become a man, right? And basically he let me down, and he did some things that were way out of left field, and we haven't talked in forever, but it is what it is. Sometimes things happen like that, and I did not know how Used To was gonna play out, because it's basically a trap song, but that was by design, and it was sonically inspired by a trap version that I heard of Bad Blood by Nail, and I heard it on Instagram one time, and I don't have that snippet of the trap version of Bad Blood, but I kept that thing in my head, and Morgan was like, I would not have done it like this, but my thing was no, that's kind of like how it was supposed to be. And shout out to him, you know what I'm saying, for being honest about that, but there was a reason why it went that way. And even listening to the album, I was actually kind of surprised by how it actually flowed with the rest of the album. I was like, oh, this is actually it doesn't stick out like a sore thumb as much as I thought it would. Okay, say less. The Hero 2, which is a sequel to The Hero from New Orbit, but it's about a different topic entirely. So The Hero 2 is basically about my mom. My mom is my hero, and shout out to her. And basically it talks about the weight and expectations that come with someone who's overcome so much, and bearing the weight of expectations and all that kind of stuff. It's like, well, I'm not gonna be my mom, but I am my own person, but I could still look up to my mom, even though, you know what I'm saying, like that kind of thing. That's The Hero 2. Grave Mistake was it was originally called Gravedigger. That was what I wanted to title that song, but there was already a song called Gravedigger that kind of had a similar vibe already, and I didn't want to straight up copy it. So Grave Mistake is kind of it's basically a quintessential breakup song. It's kind of a stripped down version of Gone from Dark Matter, basically. So it's kind of like a little callback to that. And Grave Mistake was basically, it's pretty petty. It's a pretty petty song. I hope that you're lonely. A whole bunch of nonsense. But yeah, it's like the wounds are fresh, but you're still picking up the glass that broke or whatever. Paradise Lost. I actually wrote, this was probably my favorite song from the project, from Final Voyage. Paradise Lost was written in 2020 when during the peak of the stay-at-home orders and the whole shutdown, and I flew over to Hawaii from July to December. I was there for 5 months, and I didn't know when. Basically, I didn't know when I was gonna go back home. When I was gonna go back home, I didn't know. And with everything that was going on, and I had to explain this to some people because I performed this song at the Shag Room last week Wednesday, and they were like, they were telling me about like the whole thing about the stay-at-home stuff in Hawaii, but the fact that we were on an island, it actually made it a lot more strict. Like, I mean, I'm fortunate that, you know, it could have been a whole lot worse, but it also could have been a lot better, you know, and like literally nothing was open except for the supermarkets and stuff. We couldn't even go to the beach. If I remember correctly, we couldn't go to the beach or anything at all because everybody was on high patrol, on high alert and vigilant and stuff like that. And yeah, it was a downer for everybody, but it was just like, well, I don't know. I don't know when the government's gonna open everything up again. You know what I'm saying? But that was like that was what Paradise Lost was about. Before we get into Other Side, because Other Side is actually really simple. We kind of talked about this at length during one of the single digit episodes called Archeress. You can check that one out. But we did the whole rocket science music video during that pandemic, during that whole thing. So it wasn't all bad. But Holo, how do you think we were able to make the most out of that time when I was back home in 2020?
Oh shoot! I still when we did which photo shoot was that? Was that at the Rocks?
No. Oh yeah, that was for Serious. Yeah, that was like
for Serious.
Like now looking back at it, yeah, like I used that for Serious, but holy crap, like I completely forgot about that one.
Bro, that's the first thing that came up to me when you said when I think that was the last time we did photo shoot back home was for Serious, and it was all the way on the east side.
Yep, Makapu.
Yeah, Makapu. Yeah. Oh, I can't even remember that far. I just remember like we're just basically just cruising and be like, okay, we're gonna find
and rocket science.
Can't forget about that drawing.
Nope. But I just remember being at home, like the remainder of that, or at my mom's house, the remainder of that time, and you know, you had a whole lot of cabin fever. Not a whole lot you can really do.
You're right, yeah.
So I remember like I posted a whole snippet of Paradise Lost back in 2020. I was like, well, I don't know if I'm gonna go home, but like, you know, just kind of hoping that we would make it out type thing. And I named it Paradise Lost because technically, like, Hawaii is paradise, but it's, you know, but like anything, it's not perfect. The imperfections were very much on display. So that was Paradise Lost. And Other Side, which is the outro track. And it poses the question whether the grass is greener on the other side, or whether the grass is greener where you water it. One of my boss's mantra is, you know, the grass is greener where you water it. And I agree to that to some extent. You make the most out of your situation, and you kind of figure out how to navigate through, you know, obstacles and certain situations that may not be favorable to you. But there's also the other side of that coin too, whereas like if you've done everything that you feel like you could do, you always want to keep on growing and you always want to keep stretching. And I'll say have you heard of the you know, the fish in the pond analogy?
No, I haven't heard it.
So it's like, would you rather be a big fish in a small pond, or would you rather be a small fish in a big pond?
Oh, a small fish in a big pond.
Exactly. There you
Yes.
go. It's just, you always, because if you're a big fish in a small pond, you're gonna suffocate and you're not gonna swim.
Mhm.
You're gonna soak up all the water. In like even if you always want to keep swimming in ponds that are bigger than you because you have more room to learn, more room to grow, more room to stretch. And that's kind of how I ended up with the Mars Luna stuff. Like I've mentioned this multiple times in these podcast episodes that I've outgrown this, but I wanted to finish what I started. And and for a lot of my life, like I didn't finish a lot of things. And I think now with basically the last big project for Mars Luna being over,
Mm.
like I'm I'm really glad that I reached the finish line on this. I'm super glad that not only did I reach the finish line, but I still have my real ones with me throughout the entire thing. And that, especially with music, that stuff does not happen,
Mm.
right? So, and when it comes to anything business in general, those things don't really happen. So, um, I think it. I wouldn't say I made it through it unscathed, but I made through it as clean as I possibly could go, and that was like that's the part that I'm really grateful for. Um, and I guess the next question that I have, this is not like the main question yet, but um, and we already touched on this briefly, but what emotions come with the end of the Cosmic Chronicles era? And I think for me, it's still very fresh, and I still have my green hair, which I've already I've already outgrown this green hair, and I'm tired of it staining my bathtub. But but it's nice. Um, I would say that as an artist, like I've always prepared ahead, and I have to prepare ahead, especially if you're working on projects that take a lot of time. So it's so I haven't really like had opportunities to be present with it. And it's always been trying to focus on the next thing. Um, but I think there's a lot of peace and resolution that knowing that this is the end
Mm.
of an era and that, like you always say, like with every ending, there's a new beginning and new things can't start if you're still holding on to old things.
Mhm.
And, you know, um, Ethan has really enjoyed being outside this year, and he's the one that really that's really the attraction whenever I perform anywhere. And I think that's the part I'll really miss the most. Like whenever I brought Ethan anywhere to perform, I've always performed Mars Luna always performed better with him. And I don't know if it's like a subconscious thing or it's like I've really immersed myself into the character and like when knowing that Ethan's there, it's like, oh snap, it's about to be lit. You know what I'm saying? Shout out
Oh
to
yeah, yeah.
ET one time. But I think like I'm gonna make like a little like ending video, like putting Ethan in like one of the drawers or something, and like just that would be like the fun, like saying goodbye to that era type thing. And but yeah, is there anything more that you wanted to add about certain emotions that come with the end of the Cosmic Chronicles era?
Mm. I like how you said it's still fresh. Like you really gotta like have it set in,
Yeah,
have it like marinate just a little bit. But yeah, I feel like going through your whole discography
yeah,
from like way back, and it's just to see the growth
yeah,
from back then to the final voyage. It's gonna be a wild
yeah, bro.
ride.
Yeah, for sure. I feel like I understood not only who Mars Luna needed to be, but I also understood who I am as an artist too.
Mm,
And when if or whenever that time comes, like I'm super excited to show that. Um, but yeah, it's super fresh. The album's only been out for a week, and I've gotten some really good comments on the album already from messages and even Facebook. I was not expecting anything
oh.
on Facebook, but I was like, all right, say less. Um, but I think it's just a lot of gratitude, um, and a lot of peace and a lot of resolution that will, I think it'll feel more real towards the end of the year, like
Mm,
in December, like when I see like the end of the year recaps and stuff, it's like, oh wow, okay, like now this feels like a turning of the page. Um, and I already starting to map out what the transition process is going to look like
mm,
now, so I always got to, no matter what, like I still got to keep creating because that's who I am, and still gotta, you know, and still gotta, you know, put stuff out there because I enjoy it. The transition process is going to be as public as it possibly can be, but you know, still gotta put my head down and do that work.
mhm. Right,
Um,
right.
now, do all the Cosmic Chronicles side quests, like EPs and like Genesis Prelude, Arcturus, Sirius stuff aside, um, let's compare every Cosmic Chronicles album. Uh, rank them in order, from Lost in Space to Dark Matter, New Orbit, and Final Voyage. I think if I were to put it in tiers, like Final Voyage would probably be at the bottom, as it should be, um, because it's on a different if it's on a different echelon from the other three. Um, like I said, Final Voyage would probably be before because it's sentimental, and it's like you said, it's a bunch of different stories that kind of make up one project. It's a retrospective look at everything that's happened. Like Roller Coaster happened in 2019, for crying out loud. With You happened in 2018. You know what I'm saying? Like I've said before, I had all these songs stored in the archive, but because both of my hard drives that Final Voyage was on crashed, and I lost some of the stems, I couldn't really tweak too much of it. So I was like, it's like, all right, cool. But I'm still proud of it. I'm proud of how it turned out and everything. And it sounds really good on Apple. So I was really surprised about that. So I was like, cool. It made me realize that I can produce my own material. And
Mm,
I have some material that I have on my computer that's even better than that one. So, and I've had Final Voyage for 3 years. So all those songs, y'all, are from 2022 when I borrowed Morgan's Shure uh SMB microphone for a week before we even started on New Orbit. So New Orbit is actually the newest Mars Lunar record that I made, which is, funny lore. Um and then I would say Lost in S- I guess Lost in Space would be third. It's the most memorable era for me as far as like performing and all that kind of stuff. I got to um really showcase a lot from the album, and perform in front of a bunch of different crowds here in the city. And but obviously, like, because I was in a soul searching period trying to figure stuff out. Um, it's I didn't necessarily have an artistic identity fully fleshed out yet at that time. It's like you're painting on a blank canvas, and you're painting the canvas with very broad strokes in red and gold.
mm,
Like that was basically what Lost in Space was. it was foundational red and gold strokes, basically. And it kind of um it kind of talked about general ideas of like the spectrum of the human experience. Um, and that's probably the best way I can really put it. There are songs that I'm really proud of on Lost in Space, like Drift, Good Girls Fun, Selfish. Like those are some, or The Villain from that got played at the Golden Knights game. You know what I'm saying? Like and You're Right Here and How Can I Live Without You. Like I had some really fun songs on that record that I enjoyed performing. Um, but the album itself was, I was still trying to figure some stuff out, and the Mars Luna character really fleshed out after that album dropped. So I had to put that at three. Um, New Orbit was probably the most sonically cohesive record that Morgan and I worked on together. Um, it's the happiest album that Morgan and I put together. I wish that I was healthy when that album dropped. That was really the only pushback from it, but that's more external circumstances than anything. Um, and you know, these damn like recreating these damn feelings again. Like that was fun. Take It Slow, bringing that back again. But making those things feel new and fresh. And Green Light, shout out to Tom Bro one time, uh, Sheldon Cooper, you know what I'm saying? And yeah, like creating a fully fleshed out alternative happy R&B record was something that I wanted to do from Mars Luna and found a way to make that work. And you Holo created all the fun logos and stuff for it,
Yeah, that was cool.
which I wanted to carry over to Final Voyage too. You know what I'm saying. So I love the artistic direction you know, that I planned out for it, and that was when I really started taking the artistic direction of things a lot more seriously for Mars Luna moving forward, and trying to make if it was Cosmic Casanova gone. If Dark Matter was Cosmic Casanova gone wrong, then New Orbit was Cosmic Casanova done right. And that was kind of the gist of it there. Um and Dark Matter, I think sonically was probably at the top. And although like it was written during a really crappy time, like some of my favorite songs that I've written were on that project. Like Lipstick Blues, Psychopath, Psychopath Energy, Push and P, you know what I'm saying? Um, and just kind of like if Lost in Space was painted in broad strokes, then Dark Matter was painted with the thinnest paintbrush that you could find because it was a conceptual album that basically fleshed out Mars Luna's strange intergalactic comic book character type thing where I was trying to figure out, what's right from wrong and doing the right things the wrong way. I hated the in-between process, but I can't deny that like the the music itself that came out of it was the best that Mars Luna's ever put out in my in just in my opinion. But I'm proud of all four of them. That's just my little ranking, just based off of the songs themselves. Uh, if I were to rank everything based on circumstances, it would be completely different. But
Mm-mm.
yeah, how would you rank each Mars Luna album?
It kind of falls in line with your ranking with Final
Mhm.
Voyage at the bottom,
Yeah.
Lost in Space. And I would probably have New Orbit at the top and Dark Matter
Mm.
as second.
I like that.
Yeah.
I like that. Either of those would have been
Mm.
fine for me, for sure. Okay. Where are we? Let's see. Now, one of the questions that I wrote here was, what does music look like moving forward? and this is specifically a me question. I've had people hitting me up about certain things, about um uh about performances and you know photo shoots and stuff like that. But a lot of those come from like people who are like year nines and people who haven't been a part of the journey for a while. Um, I will say that, you know, I'm actually looking forward to taking a little break from music, uh, just because like, you know, there's a bunch of like external things outside of music that I'm trying to focus on right now. And but I will say that I'm still, like I said, I'm still working. I'm still I'm still figuring out new material. I'm really looking forward to um, whenever that time is, and maybe within the next 2 years or so. Um, I will say that the music moving forward will be. I'm trying to find the right words. Um, it'll be a lot more edgier. It's if Mars Luna was a representation of what I wanted my inner child to be, then um then basically the new music would be it'll be authentically me now and how I see the world now and how I see like I'll talk about my faith more. I'll talk about, uh the state of the world more and all that kind of stuff that comes with being in a navigating through life as an adult. So it's that's something I'm really excited about, but I'm not in a rush to deliver that yet.
Mm.
If that makes sense. Those who are new to this podcast or this time capsule, I usually try to center the episode around a question, whether it's a philosophical question, whether it's a general question, whether it's a fun question. You know what I'm saying? Something that relates to each project's theme. So since Final Voyage, the last Mars Luna album is centered around um, sentimentality and nostalgia, but also the future. Um, my question is, what are your and this goes to both of us, you, uh, me and Holo, as well as those who are listening and watching. Um, things happen in seasons. So, what are your hopes, dreams, and intentions for your next season of life? I think for me, I think I think then my hopes and dreams and intentions for this next season of life is that I'm living in my purpose instead of um instead of putting stuff to the side. It's right now it's about I want to work towards that. I want to um live in a world where my passions will ultimately become a reality. And I'm pretty sure that's most creative persons' aspirations and dreams and stuff like that. Um, and hopefully, if this next thing that I'm working towards goes through, then that would be the first step towards actually betting on myself and putting my best foot forward towards securing my future and being in an industry that I'm actually passionate about. I know that's very vague, um, but basically, making my passions a reality instead of putting it on the back burner. How about you, Holo?
Mm. You know what? This next season of life, I'm gonna pretty much focus on being the baddest, dangerous mofo you ever seen. You know what I'm saying?
You know, I didn't have to think very hard about that one, boy.
Bro, like I'm telling you, I am in it. The grind continues. I tell you, like I'm
The
trying
grind
to
continues.
grind continues, like getting off of this little brick
Right.
thing, disappear for a little while, but keeping the boys in loop of what's happening,
Right.
and just knowing like in this next season of life, I am injected into a season of discernment.
Okay, there we
Knowing
go.
what is right for me, what is not, who I want in my space, who I need to let go, and
Right.
being patient for the one who would walk with me.
There we
That
go.
is the clear sign. And there's like little things that like pushes and like little whispers and sometimes even messengers that are that are making their presence known to me, that gives me confirmation like where I'm at right now is where I'm supposed to be.
Right.
So other than all of that, I still have a side quest of being the baddest one in the gym. Is still ongoing. Letting all these mofos know how we Hawaiians, Polynesians do it. But
different, bro.
That's just a ego thing. But other than that,
right.
it's hopes, dreams, and intentions all fall into place as long as you put forth God and just surrender everything to Him, man.
Yep.
I learned that way later in life.
Yeah, there we go. Hey, shout out to the Heavenly Father. You know what I'm saying? I was gonna say the Hawaiian word for it, but I blanked out on it. So
no, it's all good. I said it in my head. I think we both said it in our head.
Yeah, we were saying it at the same time.
Yeah.
We were saying, but yeah, no, but that concludes that was the last question for this episode. Thank you all for listening and watching. I can't believe we're already at 53 episodes of this thing. That's crazy.
Yes,
I still remember episode 1 like it was yesterday.
On a whole.
Hey,
55 more.
Now there's still more episodes I want to do. There's still more episodes coming. Like I got a couple more to the end of the year. So there's yeah, it's if I'm blanking out several times, it's like it feels like reality is really setting in. So it's but I'm really grateful. I'm really appreciative of those who've been a part of this odyssey, this journey for the past 9 years. Whether you've been a part of it for this year, whether you've been day one, whether you're passing through in between. I really appreciate it. I really appreciate it because I'm not entitled to anything anyways. You know what I'm saying? So it's been really cool, and you can follow me at Luna B Joshua. You can follow on Threads and Instagram and TikTok, and you can follow all the music stuff at It's Mars Luna, on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, all of that, and I'm still trying to figure out like how that's gonna go from there because I'm doing a whole track by track breakdown right now, and then after that, and then a final voyage. But after that, like, I'm gonna give people a little update, beginning of next month, and then yeah, just stream final voyage. You know what I'm saying? Like, then that's pretty much it. How about you?
You can follow me on Instagram, Holokahiki Toves, on YouTube, Holokahiki Toves, but you're probably not gonna see anything for a while. Gonna disappear for a little while, but yeah, I think the next time you see us, someone is gonna be probably having a girlfriend, and it's not two of us.
Kind of.
So if you listen to the end of this podcast, you already know what's going on.
Yeah, sir.
Someone is ahead of the game right now.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, for sure. we're gonna keep tabs on him after this. But
Right.
but yeah, thank you all for watching and listening. As Mars Luna likes to say, embrace your odyssey, embrace the strange. There will be another episode coming, diving deep on Together Forever. So stay tuned for that. Shoot! Yeah, 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 yeah.
Not the ye.
You know what? Joshua had a hard time keeping it together, and honestly, I can't blame him. I can't. I hate saying he's right, but I can't blame him either. Anyway, I hope you all enjoyed this episode of the ML Backstage podcast. If you liked what you heard, follow us on Spotify and subscribe to us on Apple and YouTube at ML Backstage. You can follow me on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook at It's Mars Luna. You can find all my music on Spotify and Apple Music and on my website at itsmarsluna.com. Stream Final Voyage on all the streaming platforms. This is the very last Mars Luna project, and it is bittersweet. But we got till the end of the year, so stay tuned for the next episode where Joshua digs deeper into Together Forever. Hopefully, Kainalu will be back this time, and Holokahiki will make his return as well.